You ever notice how a woman hugs you first and for a split second your entire body freezes? Not because you're scared, because something in that moment feels bigger than casual, more intentional, more laden with meaning. Yet you pretend it's nothing. You call it friendly. You call it normal. But what if that one small act was never small at all? Men miss signals not because they're blind, but because they were taught to fear their own intuition. They were conditioned to second-guess what they feel, to dismiss what their gut knows is true. And as someone who's spent years studying human behavior and Stoic philosophy, I've watched countless men overlook the exact signs that tell them a woman is opening a door most guys never walk through. So let's walk through it slowly, honestly, without the comfortable lies you've been fed about how women communicate attraction. The language of proximity. When a woman hugs you first, the world around her becomes background noise. She's not thinking about who might see it. She's not calculating what assumptions you might make. In that moment, she's thinking only about how she feels in your presence. Most men fundamentally misunderstand how women communicate. They assume words are the primary channel. They wait for her to say she's interested. But this is backwards. Women reveal attraction through the body, long before the mind permits the words. Women communicate through proximity, through how close they allow you to stand, through how close they choose to be. A hug is the most underestimated form of female communication ever created. On the surface, it looks innocent, friendly, casual, but psychologically, it's profoundly intimate. It's bold, it's vulnerable. A woman does not initiate that kind of physical closeness with a man she feels nothing toward. Even if she tries to hide it behind a smile or a quick hi, her body is telling a story her words cannot. Her nervous system is communicating what her mind is still processing. And here's something most men never hear. Women are genuinely terrified of hugging the wrong man first. They fear sending the wrong message. They dread being misread. So when she chooses to take that step, she has already weighed the risk. She has already calculated the vulnerability. That means she sees something in you that feels safe, and something in you that feels dangerous in a way she's drawn to. Both matter equally. The code within the hug. The length of that hug is a code. If a woman gives you a quick, polite squeeze, her mind is on autopilot. Social protocol, nothing more. But if she holds you for that extra heartbeat, that extra breath, that moment where her fingers tighten just a little, she's no longer hugging. She's feeling you, she's calibrating, she's checking whether your energy grounds her or pulls her in deeper. She's reading you in a way most men never recognize. Most men don't notice because they're busy overthinking what to say next. They're trapped in their own minds, generating dialogue, planning responses. But women don't hug to hear words. They hug to feel your presence, to sense what cannot be faked, to measure your confidence, your calmness, your masculine stability. In 3 seconds, she can feel whether you're grounded or desperate, whether you see her or need her, whether you're secure in your own power or trying to borrow hers. That energy decides everything. Here's the truth you were never supposed to know. A woman's first hug is her way of placing a quiet bet on you. She's not declaring feelings. She's testing emotional chemistry. She's asking a question without speaking. She's hoping you're paying attention. Because if you ignore the signal, she won't repeat it. A woman only initiates vulnerability once. If you shrug it off, if you act numb, if you pretend you didn't feel the shift in the air, she tells herself she imagined it. And once she convinces herself of that, you lose a window that never comes back. What her body reveals. A woman's hug is not an accident. It's an invitation. There's a moment inside that first hug that most men never truly feel because they're too distracted by shock. But she feels it clearly, fully, completely. When she wraps her arms around you first, she's not just reaching for your body. She's reaching for confirmation. Confirmation that the way she feels around you isn't a fantasy she created. confirmation that you're real, that the energy between you is real. You need to understand something about female psychology that most men never learn. Women don't take physical initiative unless they already feel emotionally pulled. Attraction precedes logic. It drags them forward before their rational mind can analyze what's happening. But here's the part you're never told. Her hug is a measurement, a quiet assessment. She's testing something primal. Do I feel safe with you? Do I feel alive with you? Do I feel both? That duality is rare. And when a woman feels it, even for a second, her body responds before her mind can catch up. Think about her perspective. She lives in a world where she must constantly protect her boundaries, her comfort, her reputation, her emotional safety. She cannot afford to be reckless with touch. So when she hugs you first, she's stepping out of her comfort zone. She's gambling on you, and that risk is not random. A woman's nervous system doesn't lie. Her body moves toward what feels good and away from what feels threatening. If she moves toward you, it's because your presence disarms her in a way she won't admit yet. Inside that hug, she notices everything. She feels the steadiness of your breathing. She feels whether your arms hesitate or respond with certainty. She feels the warmth of your chest and whether her body relaxes against it. She feels the tension you carry, the calmness you radiate, or the unresolved chaos in your energy. Women don't just hug, they decode. You think you're standing still, but she's reading you like a psychological map. The first checkpoint. Here's the part that should move you. A woman can sense in 3 seconds whether you're emotionally grounded or emotionally starving, whether you're a man who sees her or a man who needs her, whether you operate from your own power or you're trying to borrow hers. That energy decides everything. If she senses you're dependent on her attention, she'll pull back. Her instincts will protect her. But if she senses that her presence simply adds to you rather than completes you, she leans in closer the next time. She signals more. She tests the waters further. The hug is the first checkpoint, but the real signal comes from how she behaves after. Does she smile differently? Shorter? Softer? Like she's hiding something? Does she hold eye contact a beat too long, like she's waiting for you to understand what she can't say aloud? Does she stand near you even when she doesn't have to, as if her body is magnetized to yours? These are not accidents. These are micro-expressions of attraction that leak out when a woman's guard slips. She won't verbalize it. She doesn't want to seem obvious. But she's hoping you catch it. Because if you do, and you respond with calm confidence rather than desperation, she escalates without realizing she's escalating. Your presence becomes permission for her own feelings. The test within the moment. But here's the deeper truth. She's not testing whether you like her. She already knows you do. She's testing whether you're a man she can emotionally trust, a man she can relax around, a man who makes her feel feminine without her trying. That's why the first hug matters. Because in that one act, she's revealing who she becomes around you. She's showing you the softer, more open version of herself. And she's hoping you can hold that space without exploiting it. There's a shift that happens in a woman after she hugs you first. And most men never catch it because they're focused on what to do next. But here's the Stoic truth. You don't need to do anything. You need to notice. Women aren't drawn to the man who performs. They're drawn to the man who observes, understands, and responds with intention instead of insecurity. After that initial hug, she pays attention to how you carry yourself around her. She wants to know if you become awkward, nervous, overly excited, or if you stay grounded in who you are. If a man instantly tries to prove himself, talks more, jokes more, or rushes to keep the moment alive, she feels the shift. And it kills the chemistry, because she wasn't attracted to a man performing. She was attracted to a man present. Her feminine instincts crave a man who remains steady, not cold, not detached, steady, in a way that makes her feel like she didn't misread you. Your response determines everything. This is why your response to her first hug is more important than the hug itself. If you overreact, she shuts down. Her defenses rise again. If you underreact, she doubts herself. She questions if she imagined the connection. But if you respond with calm certainty, just a warm, grounded hug, back followed by natural conversation, she feels something she rarely feels with men. Emotional safety. Safety doesn't mean boring. Safety means she can relax her guard. And when a woman relaxes her guard, her femininity rises, her openness deepens. But here's where most men lose her without knowing. They start chasing the moment instead of letting it breathe. They text too fast, compliment too soon, push too much energy too quickly. Women don't fall for pressure. They fall for presence. They fall for the man who doesn't need to grab her attention because he already has it and doesn't treat it like something fragile he might lose. Her attraction grows in silence, during the moments you're not even talking, in the way she watches you when you're not looking, in how she notices your posture, your tone, your discipline, the subtle confidence you carry. She feels more from your energy than your words. That's why the hug she initiated is only the beginning. Step 2 is how your presence affects her afterwards. If she finds herself thinking about how steady you felt, how warm you were, how natural that closeness was, she starts imagining you in her life without even realizing she's doing it. The oxytocin effect. Here's the psychological truth. When a woman initiates touch, her brain releases oxytocin. Just a little, but enough to make her associate comfort with you. If the moment that follows reinforces that comfort, if you remain grounded, present, and steady, her brain locks the connection in deeper. That's how attraction becomes emotional. That's how emotional attraction becomes desire. Not through grand gestures, not through clever lines, but through consistent, grounded, masculine presence. When she hugs you first, she's not asking you to chase her. She's asking you to match her, to give her a reason to lean in further without fearing she'll fall alone. The men who understand that, those are the men women choose, even when they don't want to admit why. The real question. There's a moment every man faces after a woman hugs him first, usually alone, often late at night, when he replays it in his mind, wondering if it meant what he hopes. And here's the truth most men never hear. If it meant something to you, it meant more to her. Women don't risk emotional exposure without purpose. She hugged you because the way you make her feel slipped past her defenses. And that feeling is not random. It's a signal her body sent before her mind could analyze it. But now comes the part that decides everything. What you do with the signal. Men think the next step is to step up with big gestures, strategic texts, perfect timing. But that's not what reaches a woman on a deeper level. What she really wants is to see if you're a man who understands the unspoken language she just revealed. When she initiates touch, she's silently asking, "Can you meet me where I am without overwhelming me?" Your biggest power is not acting. It's acting with intention. You don't need to chase. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to show up as the same grounded, steady man she felt in that hug. Women fall for consistency, not performance. They fall for the man who remains centered even when her presence stirs something inside him. That steadiness is rare. That steadiness is masculine. And that steadiness is what creates desire that lasts longer than the moment. The flowering of femininity. When she hugged you, she wasn't just expressing interest. She was revealing the version of herself she could become around you. Softer, warmer, more open. A woman's femininity blooms only when she feels emotionally safe and energetically drawn to a man at the same time. That balance is delicate. Most men break it without meaning to. They either push too hard or pull too far back. But the man who walks that line with quiet confidence, he becomes unforgettable. She'll think about the way your arms felt. She'll think about the way your presence calmed her. She'll think about how natural the moment was and how rare that is. As that feeling grows, she'll start sending more signals. Subtle shifts in eye contact, a softer tone, longer conversations, more excuses to be near you. She won't verbalize attraction. She'll allow it. She'll let you in slowly, hoping you notice the openings she's giving. Women don't want to chase. They want to feel chosen by a man who sees what she's offering without taking advantage of it. If you treat her initial hug like nothing, she will eventually feel foolish for giving it. If you treat it like everything, she'll feel overwhelmed. But if you treat it with calm appreciation, just enough to show presence, not pressure, you create the exact emotional environment where desire grows naturally. The final wisdom. So before we end, let me ask you the question most men avoid asking themselves. When she hugged you first, what did you feel that you're afraid to admit? Because that feeling is the signal. That feeling is the truth underneath everything else. And if you're honest about it, if you understand what it means, if you respond to it with grounded presence rather than desperate reaction, you'll discover something most men never do. You'll discover that attraction isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding. It's about recognizing the quiet invitation she's giving you and having the wisdom, the discipline, and the masculine presence to meet her there. That's the path to genuine connection. That's the path to becoming the man she can't deny.